How's it going? What I want to talk about today is, I guess, understanding, or do you even have a why behind your actual shooting? And you probably heard me hit on this in the past in general and just in life, having a why. But what's really your purpose when you come to the range, or what are you missing out when you don't? And obviously, a general consensus for my audience would be self-defense, protection of my home, protection of myself, protection of my family. And I get that. I am 100% on board with the aspect of protection of yourself and your loved ones. But what is it outside of that? What is it that you want to work on when you go to the range? And I pose this question because the consuming trend, or the average or consistent trend, should I say, is still, from my perspective of things, is people still buying things, or again, what I hit on in the past, hardware versus software, people buying hard goods, people buying things, and lacking the training perspective. And I'm not just seeing this with my company, but just with other people that I hold in my tight circle as reputable trainers as well. I see this as a consistent trend, more or less, because in my opinion, that individuals' why just isn't strong enough to support them consciously spending X amount of money to go to a class. Because as we all know, or those who've been in my class, some of you guys travel far, so not only do you have to pay for the actual tuition, but the ammo, food, lodging, gas, the travel, all this involved into a 1 or even 2-day weekend. So again, from my perspective as the teacher, I do 100% understand where you guys are coming from. And again, I think the lack of attendance in a majority of classes is, like I said, people's why isn't strong enough, along with the fact that obviously, as we all know, there is a large amount of unhealthy or even untested ego overall in the gun space, whether it be from the back end where I am in regards to from the training side, or even from just the end user side, or even the product side. There's just a lot of people in this actual industry or this space that, again, don't want to put themselves out there in front of a class with people they may not know, with a trainer they may not know personally, and it frightens a lot of people. But again, that's the beauty of it. You need to understand that in order to get better at anything, whether we're talking here with shooting, whether we're talking about combatives and grappling, whether we're talking about business, whatever it is, you have to stay uncomfortable. And I can't preach this concept enough. It's probably like a broken record for those of you who've been following me long enough, but I'm going to keep on saying it because but I still see a large amount not applying this. And it's okay to be scared. It's okay to have fear, especially these alpha male mentality individuals, don't want to admit that they get scared. Everybody gets scared. I get scared. I get nervous every time that, I perform a cold start in front of the students. I'll be the first one to admit that, because again, that pretty much sets the tone for the rest of the class. Either I perform to that high level performance or I don't. It's just as simple as that. And that's why I purposely have a cold start, not only for my students, but for myself as well. I get nervous every time that, I roll with a higher belt on the mats, because I'm pretty much fending for my life that entire 6, 7, 8 minutes, however long the roll is. I get nervous when I, put myself out there into new ventures with new partnerships for my company, whatever it may be. So, again, fear exists, being nervous exists, but the more that you try to push it away, the more that you attempt to, we'll say, act or pretend that it doesn't exist, the more that it inevitably controls you. And again, that doesn't make sense for most, because again, from the outside perspective looking in, that would be like, no, Ian, I'm pushing it away. It's not letting it control me. But because you're not embracing it, admitting that it exists and allowing it to be part of your life cycle, then it, like I said, it inevitably will control you, or it is controlling you. So the only way to control it is putting yourself out there, is to be getting scared, to have fear, to possibly fail in front of others or even yourself, more or less. But again, that's the only way to get better at something. If you're constantly in this echo chamber, this space where you feel that you're in control, where you're safe, more or less, that's not where growth occurs. Growth occurs in these moments that we have in life where things aren't in our control, and we have to adapt, and we have to maybe improvise, and we don't have a set script to fall back on. And that's where you grow because of it. Because things aren't laid out for you, that's how we get better, because we learn how to improvise on the spot. And that's where, again, this concept goes back to training. What is your why behind your training, outside of the obvious training, protecting myself and my loved ones? Are you going to the range and working on your grip? Are you working on your accuracy? Are you working on your recoil management? Are you working on your transitions between low to high or high to low probability targets? For me, when I go to the range, I'm not only practicing, obviously, in the context of being able to protect myself and my loved ones and my family, but also I need to perform at a high level of performance for the sanctity of my company, of Runenation. So that is why I go to the range. I don't just come here just because I can go to the range whenever I want, because I have this lifestyle where I don't have regulated hours, but it's because I need to. If I don't, and I fail consistently in front of my students, that's not going to do anything to grow my company. If anything, that's going to allow people to want to stay away from me. Don't go to that guy. He can't even shoot. So I want to be on a level that I am comfortable with, that I can perform regardless of the situation, regardless of the environment, regardless of the number of students in my class. And that's why I come to the range. I come to the range because I want to know that when I perform in front of my students, it's inevitably going to grow my company at the end of that day or the end of that 2 days, because they see not only how well I am as an educator explaining the mechanical application or the skill or the whatever it may be, but also that I can shoot. It needs to be a balance of both. I hit on this a lot in the class as well. There's plenty of good shooters out there, but they lack the ability to communicate the information over to a wide variety of student base or client base. But in the end, I can only get so good. I only have so much time between classes to go to the range, between family, between other parts of the company, that ironically enough, I really don't have a lot of time at the range for myself. And that's why I try to maximize the amount of time that I have here now in order to become better and in order to have a reputable company and as a reputable business owner, a reputable shooter and teacher. So remember, have that why, that purpose in the back of your head every time that you show up. Just don't come here to blow rounds. Come here in order, like as I said, to become a better shooter, a better individual, but more or less just becoming a little bit better every single day that you wake up. All right, 9-4-2 double bill drill, 7 yards. First shot 281 with a level 2 retention holster, and all hits are in 12 alpha hits. All right, so again, hold yourself accountable, hold yourself to a standard, and never falter from it. Okay, don't make excuses. It's either you perform to that level that you've set out for yourself or you don't. Simple as that. So as always, train hard, train safe, and train to live. Because remember, at the end of the day, no one is coming to save you. Have a great weekend. Go out there, find your purpose.